Hi everyone, Sue here from Scott Properties Group. I'm here today with Vanessa Harte from Ray White in Ascot. Hi Vanessa, how are you in this remote
Good morning,
world?
very well, thank you.
Good. Okay, so look, I'm just catching up, as you know, with a few real estate agents along the coast, on the Sunshine Coast and in Brisbane, and just curious, I know your office is in Ascot primarily, but just wondering what's happening with you guys.
Well, we've been actually really busy. I mean, there's not a lot of stock on the market, but the buyers that we have are, they're ready to purchase. They're very well qualified. Most of them have their finance in order, or they've sold. Obviously, the buyers are people who have not been terribly affected by this whole process. But we've been inundated with buyer inquiry. People are sitting at home looking at their computers, needing a bigger property.
Yeah.
and they're certainly looking.
I think it's quite interesting because I've had this same conversation all week really with agents saying that obviously cash buyers are always there regardless.
Yes.
Always going to be there. But the lower level, perhaps the smaller units in Brisbane, going up to that sort of 758 to $1 million is still a little bit on the slack side. It tends to be more the over the million, over the 1.5. Are you finding that the same? It's the higher end primarily?
No, not necessarily. I would say that there's always bargain hunters out there. We in Ascot here, we're probably quite insulated, being that premium suburbs tend to hold their value. They don't tend to have a lot of fluctuation, but we've got a couple of properties in that sort of sub-million market. One of them recently just sold within 3 days of being listed.
What sort of price was that?
In the high 8s.
Yeah, so it's still that higher end of that lower market. That's what I'm trying to say. I think the 400, 500, 600, some are gathering are still, and we're finding out the same. A, there's not the stock, and B, they're not shifting so quickly because it's that group that are struggling to get their finance necessarily in place, and it's taking that much longer. And
the banks are being very slow to get finance. That certainly has
we've
been
got
a
one
problem.
we've got one on 48 and we've got one on 32 at the moment, still waiting to get finance.
Yeah.
Every day there's something new, another bank statement or another credit card statement. And I gather ANZ now don't quote me when I'm putting it out there anyway, so I'm sure they'll pull me up if I've said something, but I gather that ANZ, even 48 hours prior to settlement, are still asking for recent pay checks and slips and bank statements. So even if you've got pre-approval, it appears, or you've got the finance in place and agreed, they're still double checking right at the end of the process, which is a bit scary actually.
It is a bit scary. Look, I think the balance between supply and demand has probably kept our prices quite buoyant. We haven't seen a huge downturn in prices, and I think that's just because there is no stock on the market. There's very little out there.
Yeah, and I think it's already been adjusted. I mean, I think if people were thinking of selling, good agents like yourself and a few others that I know have actually gone in sensibly and said, well, it is a buoyant market. However, we are in COVID-19. So, we probably would have put it up for X, but if you put it up at Y, the chances are you're going to get it through really quickly. And if the vendors are sensible, they will accept that as a professional from you, that's where the market is sitting. Do you think that's right? Is that how you're sort of approaching it?
Yeah, I think that the vendors are actually pricing the property at its sale price, as opposed to we'll put it on the market and leave it a while and we'll hope to get that dream price. I think that the people who are selling realise that there's not a huge amount of buyers in the marketplace. They need to price it correctly.
Yeah. And are you finding that there's a huge amount of negotiation on those prices? Are they fetching virtually the same kind of market? You're putting on for $1 million, it's getting $1 million, or is it just fluctuating slightly? It's not going over, I'm assuming.
No, not over. In saying that, we had 4 auctions last weekend and sold 3 of them. All of them sold for the seller's expectations.
Okay.
and one of them is currently under offer from somebody who couldn't do it inside auction terms, but all for pretty close to the expectations.
Good. That's good to know. Okay then, well that's good to hear. And we carry on through COVID-19. I expect we'll chat again soon about what's going on, because I think, when we get the flu season through, which is what we're all hoping for, and come September, which hopefully there's going to be a far bigger amount of stock coming to the markets. I think people are holding back a bit. I think September is going to be very critical for the industry, to be honest.
Yes, I don't disagree.
Scores and changing scores and all the things that go with September.
Look, if it were me and I was selling, I would sell now, because I think we will have more demand in September. Sorry, we will have less demand in September and more supply, and that may actually bring prices back. I think now is actually a really good option.
Really good time.
Yes.
Okay, Vanessa. Well, thank you for that. It's great chatting to you. We will meet up. Well, you're more than 50k from me. You're more than 50k from me, so it's still going to be the virtual copy. But as soon as we can get access down into Brisbane a bit more, we'll be down and having that coffee. Okay.
That sounds lovely. Okay. Take care, Sue.
And you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.